Welcome to another episode of the Bo Divas. We are here with Annalicia.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Annalicia.
That's my sweet voice.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
And we have a special guest tonight who's come in to, agreed to educate us on a couple of things. We are speaking with Brian Stokes. Brian has a company called Brian's Custom Lenses. Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
We're
Well,
good.
thanks so much for talking to us.
Oh, glad
Sorry.
to do it.
Anyway, so, I know a lot of people that listen to us have met you before at the ASA shoots. Why don't you give us a little bit of background in how you got started in archery, when you got started, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been doing archery a long, long time. I started in the 70s with a recurve. I was about 18, and
Oh, wow.
and then a few years later, in '79, I bought my first compound, and I started shooting. Then, of course, there was no 3D back in them days. We just shot paper targets, as far as a 5-spot or something like that. And there was some of that going on, but there wasn't any tournaments. And then I actually started shooting 3D before it was 3D at paper targets, and then it evolved into 3D targets. Now the first 3D targets I shot, believe it or not, didn't even have a 10 ring. They had a 5 and a 3. And
Oh, really?
yeah, it was
Wow.
in the 5 was the size of the 8 ring now. That's what that was. And then the next year or two, they came out with the 10 ring, and of course, then ASA added the 12, and it evolved from there.
Wow.
But that's how long I've been shooting competitively.
So you only could score 2 scores on the animal, was a 5 or a 3? Like a 3?
Well, on the first one, it was a 5 or a 3. You shot 30 targets, and your high score was 150.
Huh.
And there was a few people could do it back then, but you got to remember the bows were shooting anywhere from 230 to 250 feet per second. And then later on, they got faster, and people were a lot better at it, and that's when they added the 10 ring.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Didn't know
interesting.
that.
I did not
I
either.
didn't either. I did not
Yeah.
either.
A fascinating tidbit of information.
When did you start going to ASA shoots?
I started the first year they had ASA. I can't recall the year, but it was I've got a 4-digit number. I'm like 6842 is
Oh,
my
my
number.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
First,
That's
my
amazing.
first, my first tournament was in Alexandria, Louisiana. It was my first tournament. Was in Louisiana. First one I'd ever been to. I was working for the railroad, and I couldn't make as many as I do now because I was working a lot and couldn't make them just at will. But that was the first year they had it. First time I went.
When was that?
But I missed. I'm trying to think.
General idea, general time frame.
Let's see. I would say that would have to be around '92, maybe.
Wow.
I'm thinking somewhere right in there. Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, because I'm trying to think where I was, what I was doing. I think it was in the early '90s when ASA started, and Frank Pearson owned it in them days.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people showed up for those tournaments back then?
You would have 600-700 people on a good weekend.
Wow.
Anywhere from
That's
4
pretty
to
good
6,
size.
700.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, and they didn't have many classes. They had just the open class. So they didn't have A and B, just had open and seniors and, of course, women and youth and stuff like that. And they didn't have a whole lot of classes. So, and then it evolved, we were getting up to 300 in our class. I was open, and then they had open A and B, and, you'd have 300 in just a class by itself then after that. And, of course, there was a lot of sponsors and a lot of money, and that's what made it grow. And, of course, when Mike Terrell got it, he really made it grow. He improved a lot of things, and really made it what it is today. Now the IBO was going. The IBO was going before ASA.
Mm-hmm.
But IBO was up north. I didn't shoot in any IBOs back in them days. Had a friend here that went to a few, but they were the number one thing back in them days. Was IBO.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was the format for ASA, was it similar to the way it is now, or did Mike change a lot of that too?
It's pretty much the same thing. a few things have changed, but basically, ASA saw a need for a shotgun start. Everybody stop at the same time. IBO still doesn't do that, and they saw a niche that may work, and they're the ones started. And it was a little different back then. Everybody shot, and when everybody got through, everybody pulled their arrows. It ain't like now where you just check on each side and go get your arrows. Back then, everybody shot, and then when everybody was through, you'd go, everybody go get their arrows at once. It was a little different. But things went a little faster, you know. Yeah. Things were a little faster anyway. People shot a little faster back then.
Yeah.
Basically, the format is basically the same, yeah.
Wow.
When did you start your lens business and start being a vendor?
I started being a vendor, let's see, in about 2010. And I've been selling lens for approximately 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what was going on when lens first came out, you know, I wasn't satisfied with the quality of the lens, and I decided that I was gonna make my own lens. So I had target panic real bad. Of course, back in them days, nobody knew what it was. All I knew was I couldn't shoot. I was blaming it on everything but what it was, and I blamed it on the lens that I was trying to shoot and the post that was in the scope. Well, so I decided I would center drill a lens. I was the first one that ever did that. So what I did, I took it to the optical shop and asked a friend of mine that owned it. I said, listen, can I drill this lens and stick a fiber right in the center? And this is in the 90s, early 90s. And he looked at me and said, why you want to do that? We can build a lot better lens than this. And so we went to a different material and different lens, and that was my first one, which it wasn't very good either. It was better than what we had, but it still wasn't very good. And I kept working with different coatings and different lens manufacturers until I found the one I wanted. But what got me in it was, you know, trying to find something that I could shoot better, which wasn't even the lens's fault anyway. It was all me. But I of course, you got to have an excuse if you're an archer.
Of course.
Amen. That's a good point.
So I drilled it, and then I actually drilled them by hand back in the days with a hand drill.
Really?
And I had a good lens, and people just started asking me about buying them, and then I did, and then my wife, when we've been married now 16 years, and she's the one that really wanted to do this like we're doing it. She said, I don't know why you just don't go in and start this and do it, because everybody wants one. And she's really the one that pushed me. And of course, she does a lot of the work, or most of the work now. Even she's the one that, and she was her idea to be a vendor. See, I was shooting in the pro class, and I was doing pretty good then, and I didn't want to mess with that. I just wanted to shoot.
Right.
And
so that's.
She just
go ahead.
She pushed to be a vendor and actually cut the lens on the spot, which nobody's ever done.
So that's proof that behind every good man, there's a woman with a great idea.
Right. she's trying to make sure you didn't starve because of archery.
Now, does she
was on it for years. I mean, she pushed me for years. You can do more. These people, this is a good product. Everybody wants this.
Does she shoot?
Oh yeah, she started shooting when we started going together, and she's kind of lost interest. She still shoots some, and in fact, then she's a real good shooter. She just don't show the interest in the competition nature that some people do. But yeah, she's an excellent shooter. She can really shoot. She shoots good. She shoots back tension because that's all she's ever known. I taught her that, and she don't know any different. And she can really shoot good if she would just if she's just interested in doing other things and not shoot like she used to.
I love when a man talks about how well his wife can shoot, because that just makes my heart melt. Because that means you're proud of her.
Yeah, proud and appreciates it.
Yeah, we argue about that a lot, because I told her, you could even if you shot in the senior women, you could win it. Everybody else was shooting for second and I said, and she actually been a pro, but she just didn't have the interest. She had it for a while, and she just kind of lost interest in it.
She's probably making too much money selling lenses. I can kind of get that a little bit. So, So did you start off with, like, right now, and most of our listeners, some of them, do you ever go to any indoor shoots? Or are you strictly doing ASAs?
No, no. We do some indoor. We were in Vegas year before last.
Okay.
And then we were in Indoor National that same year. Now, this year, last year, we didn't go. The year before last, we actually was all three of the NFAAs. I had some people. My brother-in-law he was working with us, and him and his wife represented us in Yankton the same year, but I didn't go. But they did, but we even make an indoor lens made strictly, specifically for indoor. It's got a blue tint to it. And
yeah.
So yes, we do.
I saw that
indoor.
on your website, and we'll kind of dig into that in a little bit when we start talking about different lenses for different types of shooting. But I noticed that on your website. So did you start off with you have an RV or a trailer? Is that correct? And you just
go ahead. Yeah, we had an RV, so we just started with an RV, and then we added a tent. And of course, I'm working on it first, and then we got a tent. And now we bought a trailer. We're going to be working out of a trailer for the first time in Texas. But,
okay.
Oh, wow.
That's how we ended
cool.
up. We're still growing, I guess. We're adding inventory, but.
So is this your full-time job now, or has it been for a while?
Well, I don't call it my full-time job. It's just about a full-time job. Faye does a lot of it. Like I say, she can handle a lot of it.
It's her.
I retired from the railroad, and I'm a locomotive mechanic, so I work on locomotives.
Okay.
Part time. I work just a day or two a week at the most. Now that I'm retired. And we do this. This is an everyday job. It's almost full time now.
Wow. I would imagine that the demands probably, and with the way the venues have been growing with attendance, that you're getting more and more business all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely seems that way. You can't. I found out in this business, and especially archery, is you got to stay with it. If you got something that works and is good, you got to stay with it. Just that's the key to it all, in my opinion. Is just stay with it, and it'll all come together. It may not be as fast as you want to, but it will definitely come together if you stick with it. And enjoy what you're doing, of course. I tell everybody, we've been pretty successful, but it's really not us. Archers they're the best customers in the world. They're the best people in the world. We make mistakes and they just overlook it or don't worry. We're out there in the real world. You're going to have conflicts and you're going to have issues, but we just don't have it. And it's because of the archers, and they are. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's people I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
They want to help. They want to promote. They help you, and that's the reason we don't spend money on advertising too much. We put it right back into our shooters. That's what we try to do.
Right.
And I was getting ready to point that out is, business is growing because I think the sport is growing, but also because of your excellent customer service and the excellent product that you make. And that word of mouth, archers want to know what the best stuff is out there that they can get their hands on, but also being treated good by good people makes a big difference.
Yes,
and I think that's a reflection of how you run your business and how you treat everybody. You do exactly that.
Well, I appreciate that, but here again, it's so easy when you're dealing with archers.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to be. It's not that hard to be. Sometimes, you just wonder what's next because the people are just so good that I work with, but we did things a little different than most companies. We really did, but for the simple reason that we do what we do is because we had a lot of faith in the archers.
Yeah.
Right.
That they would treat us right if we went above and beyond, and I even got criticized. And another thing, since we started this, we have not went up on our prices. And now our prices have went up, but we have not went up.
Well,
wow.
And let me ask you this. So you run a business called Brian's Custom Lenses. What's the difference between a custom lens versus, the other options are to order off of Lancaster for a specific scope or power. Am I correct? I honestly haven't bought any other lenses other than yours, so I'm not sure how that works.
I love his lenses. That's all I'll shoot.
So I mean, when people go out to search for a lens, what are their options?
Well, this is what we do. First, we will make a lens for anything. We don't care what the shape. It can be an old 30-year-old scope. It could be the newest available. It could be center drilled. It could be etched, whatever they want. We'll custom build it to fit them. And our main thing is this. We guarantee your satisfaction. Now, just say you order a lens from me, but you don't know what power you want. I don't know if I want a 4 or a 6. So sometimes I just send you both and say, send me one back. And I tell my customer, don't worry about it. If you can't shoot it, send it back. And we don't wait for it to come back. We'll send them one before they can even get that one packaged up. We got to know them going their way until they find what they want. And if they just can't find what they want, just give them their money back. I mean, our policy is my fault, your fault, nobody's fault. You'll be satisfied one way or the other. And that's what we do. Right. And I don't think any other lens company or scope company will do that. But that's what we do. And I've been criticized by my bookkeepers and some people that, you can't do this. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, it's just
you're going to figure out a way to build a lens to fit it. So really, even if it's an outdated scope that's not made anymore, if they want a lens for it, you'll be able to make it.
That's correct. That's correct. Anything from an old Square D to an old Bullseye to the latest Excel, whatever's out there, we build a lens for it.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. And if the sheet, we build them right on the spot. When the customer comes up, they watch us make the lens.
Is it like a 1 hour optical?
Well,
faster than that.
And I don't think, and I've seen your operation. I'm sure Julie has too. Explain to maybe people who haven't seen it what you actually do. Like if I come up and say, okay, here's my scope and I need a lens for a 4 power. Let's just use that for example.
What we do, we'll take see, when you're talking about powers, it really doesn't in 95. That's where a lot of confusion comes in. Somebody says, I want a full power. Well, what you're asking for is a .50 diopter lens. And the power has nothing to do with it. I shoot a full power, as you say, but it magnifies 1.5 times. I have a chart, and a lot of archers have it that are into this. It's however far you are from your peep to your lens determines how much it magnifies, plus the diopter. So, in other words, if you're shooting 30 inches away from your peep, it's magnified more than if you're shooting 27 or 28 inches away.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So what we should do is go in diopter. See, I'll have somebody come up to me and say, I need a 5 power. Well, okay, what they're talking about is a 5 diopter because some companies mark them 5.
Right.
And that's a .50 diopter. And so the diopter is what we go by, and they go in quarters. And it's 2, 4, 6, which is 25, 50, 75. And, of course, we make them on up to 8, 10. We even make a 12 power, which you can't.
Holy cow. Could you imagine a 12-power lens?
Yeah, you can't see anything out of it. But,
a gnat looks like a pterodactyl.
I was gonna say.
Well, that's the sound effect.
But the power is not what it's doing anyway.
Yeah.
In other words, a 6.5 archer is going to see a lot more magnification than a 5.5 archer. You see what I'm saying? With the same setup. And of course, the more magnification you have, the blurrier the lens.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's where clarifiers and verifiers come in, and and that's what people do to clear their lens up.
I always wondered what diopter was. I just never bothered to ask anybody.
No, I never.
Oh, that's some highly technical term that I'm never going to understand, so I'm not even going to ask.
It's above my pay grade.
Let me ask you something. Do either one of you wear reading glasses?
Yes.
I do not.
2 of us do.
Very proudly, I do not.
Not yet.
Karma.
When his reading glasses have a diopter on them. That's that number that he goes by.
Okay.
They're both picking theirs up, by the way.
Yes,
but we don't.
That's what that is. Mine's 1.25.
Mine's a 2.
That's right. That's
4,
a diopter.
6.
That's your diopter right there.
So this is like a 10 power Would that be right? You said 0.25
Well,
for each.
it's the 1.0 would be an 8 power. 1.25 would be a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 point,
I counted on my
it
fingers
just
right.
goes,
So-
it goes a quarter. It goes a quarter every time we call it a power. It goes up a power.
Okay,
Ah.
so
Or
this
today
is
it goes
actually
to 2
like
powers.
holding one of your lenses up close to your eye for the purpose of reading. Sort
Okay,
of.
so what power are
Yeah.
you
This would be
reading with?
this is 1.25 diopter is what
Okay.
my
All right,
glasses
so
are.
if it's a 1.2, that would be a 10 power. What archers call a 10 power, which is it don't magnify 10 times as you can see by looking at it, but
Right.
that's the reason I wish they would just go in to get the powers and go in diopters.
I need to be
But
videoing right now.
So we're all.
Yeah, we're all playing with our glasses now and everything. We're like, wow, we learned something new.
They
And
look
then when-
different
then
now,
when
huh?
And then when you get into clarifiers, you're
Yeah.
going in negative power. See, a
Yeah.
clarifier is actually a negative power. So you're looking through a negative into a positive to clear it up. Which cuts the
Oh.
magnification somewhat, but it's negative. That's negative power.
Okay.
Mm.
And
And
did you say
and
it
a
changed?
verifier,
Does it
yeah,
change the
yeah, it changes.
magnification? Like back
yes,
the other
because
way?
you're looking through
Okay.
negative, then through positive.
Right. Okay. It makes sense.
So yeah, so
Light
naturally
bulb.
it's going to cut the magnification a little bit, and then
Okay.
it's going to clear your lens up.
Gotcha.
And then if you go to a verifier, that's positive power. If you're looking through positive and positive, which are blurred, that's the reason it blurs the target and clears the pin up.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I actually came up with a system that if you put a 0.75 diopter over your eye, then shoot a clarifier, and then look through your lens, it cleared everything up. But who wants to wear one optic on their eye? You know, if people come out here and watch me experiment with some of this stuff, they think I was a retard.
Oh, no. I have a
Tearing
question.
up glasses, looking.
Well, along those lines, okay, this has been a few years back. I bought one of your lenses, and I was having trouble seeing the target. It was blurry, and I was playing with it and adjusting it, and I couldn't get it cleared up, and I wasn't shooting a clarifier at that time. And I came by your booth, and I told you what was going on, and you slapped a pink
I
ring
remember this.
on the outer edge,
Yeah.
and basically made like the ring smaller or appear to be smaller, and that cleared it up.
Right.
So why explain?
How does that magic
I
work?
have
Yeah, how did that magic work?
I have used your example to other people that are having a hard time, so that I hope they're listening to this podcast, and now you are going to clear all that information up.
Yeah, and to this day, I am still shooting that lens with that pink ring on it. That made the
But
actual surface area smaller.
Well, what we actually did was went small with the peep. Okay, when we went small with the peep, you said I can't see my scope to line up. So that's when I put the decal on the lens to shrink it.
Okay.
So the small peep is what cleared it up.
Okay.
Oh, but since your lens was so big.
Right.
It just
And I
kind of brought that
just
all
shrunk
down.
it. I made a reduced ring is what I did. Now, if you think about this, you think about somebody trying to see something, they'll squint. So the area of focus is smaller.
Oh, okay.
Well,
You're squinting.
same thing with a small peep. You
Right.
shoot the smaller the peep, the clearer the target and the pin will be.
Right.
The smaller peep you shoot. Mhm.
Hmm.
So that's what we do. We
The
do that a
amount
lot.
of light that comes in your eye.
That's right. That's right. You're cutting down the amount that you have to focus. Like if you're say you have trouble reading and you ain't got your glasses, you could actually punch a small hole in a piece of paper and look through
I
that
have
paper
heard
and
that.
read it.
I
Wow.
have heard that.
I have not heard that. That's
I have not heard
interesting.
that either.
Yeah, they just did this experiment on one of those comedy show, or not a comedy show, but like
I need a piece of paper. I'm gonna try.
So they couldn't read the E chart. I don't know. What,
Right.
and he
Right,
said,
right.
if I poked a piece of paper poked a hole in this piece of paper, do you think that this would correct your eyesight? And the cat has a target stuck to its butt
Sorry.
right now. I'm sorry. It totally got me sidetracked. But no, so they poked the hole in the piece of paper and it cleared up their eyesight, and they were like, this is crazy, all this money we spent on glasses.
That's the same. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. I've had, you wouldn't believe when we first started this, because I don't guess anybody ever done it, but we were making lens and working with people with their bows, and they were very low. And then I can't see, well, the lens they had was old, scratched up, and they never even thought about changing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were shooting a peep the size they'd be hunting with. And I looked through it, and I said, nobody can see through this.
Right.
And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that I saw that first time. We had a big crowd the first time we did it because we were in Louisiana, nobody in Monroe, West Monroe, but and Faye was cutting the lens, and I was actually working with the people to see what they needed, and they just didn't have a clue what they needed. And of course, they're a lot more educated now, but then they didn't have a clue. They just thought pop a lens in there and go shoot it, and it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
It just doesn't.
So it's really what you almost have to do with each bow is experiment with both your power of lens and your peep size and clarifiers and guess really come up with something that you're going to be happy with. And
everybody sees different. See, I like this new lens that I came out with last year. Well, actually, year before last, but we really pretty strong with it. I guess it was last year, and it's yellow.
Yes,
and it's a yellow color. Well, to me, that's the answer to everything. I mean, this thing clears up, it's sharp, but I have had people look at it and say, I'd rather shoot clear.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show everything is not what I think.
Right.
It's what the archer sees, and believe you me, they see a lot of things. Even when I was shooting clearly, I just can't believe how good I can see that target. And I said, look through this, and it's blurry to me. The next guy said, it's blurry to me. See, so everybody sees something different.
Right,
and,
Jim.
And like I say,
Jim got that yellow. What is it called? What's the name of the lens?
It's an amber. We call it amber or yellow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really likes it, and I've looked through it too. I may steal it from him. I'm not gonna tell him.
Well, see, some of the first lenses I built 25 years ago were yellow or amber. We call it amber or yellow, and it worked great, but it had too much glare.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, all my lens gurus, the people that do it for a living, make lens and tints, and all. They said I couldn't put an anti-reflective coating and the tint on there because you can't put two coatings on the lens. Well, I just accepted that for years, and I happened to be talking to the lab and they're actually out in New York that I do business with, and I just mentioned it to the lab guy. I said, this is what I want. And he said, I can do that. We have the equipment now to do this. And I said, well, send me some. Well, he sent me some, and the first ones were so dark I made sunglasses out of it.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, I just cut me a nice pair of sunglasses. They were so dark, and so we started working with different tints with anti-reflective until we came up with something that would actually brighten the target and clear it up also. Do both very well. And that's how we
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like, even on an overcast day where it's a little bit dark and shady out there, man, that thing works great.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you're shining sunshine out there.
Yeah.
Have you seen them before, Annalisa?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So what's...
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead. No, I was going to ask you, what's the difference you typically see with people shooting indoor versus outdoor shooting in terms of what they set up for lenses and scopes and stuff like that?
People indoor seem to shoot a higher power, for one thing. Most of them shoot 6 or an 8. And of course, a lot still shoot a 4, but 6 seems to be, they want that. Now, we introduced a system a year before last in Vegas. Now, it's been around a long time. It's called the biter system. And I thought, when we went to Vegas, I thought everybody out there would have it, but I knew we were one of the few that could drill and put this system in a lens. It's made in Germany. Well, we got out there. I just got it. I got it out, put it on the table. I wasn't even selling any of them at that time. I figured everybody had their own.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
what's it called again?
It's called the biter system. It's made by Biter Archery out of Germany. They make knocks. You've heard of a biter knock and stuff. They make real high. Well, we drill the lens and it's got a peg on it, and you can change the size of your dot just by pulling it out and sticking another one in.
Julie has that.
Right.
Don't you have something
Yeah,
like that?
and-
Yeah. Vince bought a set, and I stole some of them from him for a while and tried them. It's
Right.
really cool. It's
And-
handy.
Yeah, my
Yeah, and what
husband was like in awe of that.
Yeah, and what it is, instead of 3D archers want to, put a fine pin on the 12 ring, and they have to. But a indoor archer shooting at 20 yards, he wants to cover it up. So the biter, most of them, not everybody, but most of them want to cover the dot, want to cover the part up that they want to shoot, keeps them from over aiming or getting anxious. They just cover it, and this way you can change the size of the dot without a sticker. It's not a sticker. You just put one out, and then you get the size you want, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah,
And
Julie had one over here. That's pretty cool, actually. I think that's a pretty great idea because you can kind of experiment in a pretty quick way. Because it seems like everybody, we've talked to so many people that are pro shooters and amateurs, and I mean, it's so individual,
Right.
One
That's
person
exactly.
will love one thing, and another person will hate that same thing and love something entirely different.
That's exactly right. And that's what it is. And that was hard for me to adjust to, and try to tell somebody what they needed, what this works better, because I really just don't even do it anymore. I just ask them questions so I can come up with an educated suggestion more than anything. And but yeah, we introduced that biter system, and of course we started carrying it since then because we really popularized it. And I had no idea that I thought everybody shot indoors would be shooting it. It had been around for several years.
I didn't realize. The first time I saw it was
idea.
last year, I think.
Yeah. I think it was 10 years ago, the first one. Well, actually, a customer called me and asked me if I'd seen it, and I said no. And he sent me a pack of them and said, "Can you drill a lens to this?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I can drill anything." And I kind of put it in the back of my mind. We went to Vegas, and when we showed it, it took off like wildfire. Lancaster sold out. They were ordering. We were ordering, but it's so you never know what's gonna really go with it until you try it, and see what people like.
Right. So you even have done this at the indoor ranges too. Tell us a little bit about how much your business has grown over the last several years since you've started doing this.
We've probably tripled our business. We went to Vegas year before last, and then to the indoor nationals. Same year, and actually make the lens out there inside the building for the archers and work with archers. They get the size they want, and then we tapped a whole another clientele, if you will. And then when we came out with the tinted lens, which we have two shades of yellow and a blue for indoor, and since then it's at least tripled, if not more.
I wanted to ask you about that blue lens too for indoor. Is that better for a 5-spot? What's the difference between? Is it making things lighter? Tell us a little bit about that. What it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it makes it brighter, but it makes the colors more vibrant, and it makes them more defined. They're sharper, clear. And what gave us the idea of going with blue, a lot of the top indoor shooters use Peter glasses, and they're blue. But it messes with their eyes. In other words, when they're shooting, they take them off. Their eyes, they can't see for a while, or they're seeing spots or whatever. So, and I saw how good the yellow worked, and so I went on and ordered some blue. They were too dark. Had to send them back, and then we worked with some more shades until we got it to where it would actually brighten the target and sharpen the colors. But that's what it does for either the Vegas or the 5-spot, or even outdoors. It works great, even in.
Does it really? I wonder.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking indoor, maybe it was being affected by the lights, or especially if you have what do they call it, the iridescent lights, or fluorescent lights. I wonder if the fluorescent lighting, maybe it reduces some of the, I don't know, glare or something that's picked up.
But if somebody would take that blue lens and shoot it in a FIDA tournament or a field arch or something, they will see them targets. We call it indoor, but when we say this is for indoor, but it's really for target faces. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on black 3D targets.
Right.
Is the problem with 3D, but it'll work on any target face, and it really makes it vibrant. makes it sharp.
So people using shooting like FIDA events or indoor Vegas or
Yeah.
5-spot tournaments.
Right.
So.
It would work. Yeah, and it cuts down on a lot of the glare because you do have two coatings on the lens, and if you get the glare, it pretty much eliminates the glare.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So
it works pretty good. The Amber does that, and also on these tinted lenses, your pen. You said you pen better, believe it or not. Even if it's blue
really?
on blue. And it doesn't starburst as bad either. That was we didn't know that until we started shooting them, but it actually does better than the clear on that too.
On taking away the starbursting.
That's right. It takes a lot of it out. It really does.
Maybe some folks will listen to this podcast right before Paris, Texas, and you'll just get a rush of people on this amber lens. So.
Yeah, it's really went over good. We have a lot of people shooting it, and a lot of people are winning with it with the amber. They say it's the best thing they've ever done. And,
wow.
I even had one senior pro. They asked him on Bow Junkie. He come in second. Yeah, and they asked him what was the change. He said shot so good, and that's what he told them. He went to this Brian Stokes.
Oh wow,
he's a good plug.
Cool.
Man, I was really
a little
surprised.
plug. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, we're changing the face of lens. It looks like. Of course, when I first shot that yellow lens, I knew that it was going to be a winner, and I knew a lot of people were going to shoot
All right, I'm going to have to break down and probably get one in Paris, Texas when we go.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And his prices are so good and reasonable.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, they're really, really reasonable.
But I say I have a few customers that say, I don't know, I just like the clear better,
Yeah.
Some people say there ain't that much difference, but to me, it's day and night to me. But some people just, people just see different things. And that's what you got
right. Well, I was talking to a friend this last Sunday to 3D shoot, and she was saying, we were talking about releases, and she was like, it's just such a personal thing, almost like it was a relationship.
Right.
And she was just like, when you change the releases, it's just such a personal thing. I think that kind of goes with all sorts of components on your bow.
I agree.
From stabilizer weights to releases to
even your bow itself.
How you want your sight picture set up.
Yeah.
And
I think you could almost create a gossip magazine.
You mentioned releases. It's a strange thing about releases. When I first started shooting, it was one company making releases. It was Hot Shot. It wasn't even a caliper in those days. And there was an argument among the archers, which was more accurate, the finger shooters or the release shooters, who's more accurate. And then they came out later on, a few years later, Scott came out with a caliper. Now you had a choice. Now look, from what I'm getting at is look at from a hot shot release to a caliper to what we're doing with releases nowadays.
Right.
Multi-million-dollar industry. For back then, half the shooters didn't even shoot it. Said they could shoot with their fingers.
yeah.
I've always just marveled at the release industry.
Right.
Of how many different styles, types, and I thought in 1985, I said, ain't nothing else they can put on a bow. This is it. This is all it can be.
Boy, were you wrong.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit
Just
wrong.
think of what we're going to see in, the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just,
the riserless bow.
Even the experts say we've reached the pinnacle of this performance deal, but now here again they're making them more accurate. They're making them smoother to shoot, easier to shoot. So it's never going to end. I mean, you just got to accept that. And if you're in the business and you think you can sit here and watch and sit on your laurels, you're going to get your feelings hurt. Because somebody's going to bypass you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a good point. A good point.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, we didn't really touch on this a whole lot other than you did shoot, but I know, how I met you was just at the ASAs, and then Jim has had the opportunity to shoot with you a little bit at some of because he shoots senior pro, and so do you at the ASAs. How long have you been in the senior pro division?
Let's see, I turned pro, and I shot pro in 07, and then I went back to the amateur, and then I came out in, I think, 2010.
Okay.
I think I've been pro 7 years. I think it may be 11. It was right in there, 10 or 11. I shot one time, and I decided I was going back, and let's see how I do as an amateur. And I had a couple of good years, and it was time to move on. Had a couple of real good years. I was like 4th shooter of the year, 2nd for shooter of the year, and the editors were like, "You need to move. You need to get out." And it was a good move for me. I hadn't. And last year's first year, I hadn't made a shoot down since I turned pro, and so I'm getting older. I don't know if I don't think it's got anything to do with it, but I think the competition is what's got to do with it. It's better. And but yeah, I think I've done 6 or 7 years. I've been shooting senior pro.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it a while, and that class has even grown quite a bit too.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah. When I got in it was 60, 65 shooters. Now it's nothing to have 80. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And before I got in it, years when I was shooting, when I was just turning 50, or that was 12 years ago, it was 45 in the senior pro, and now it's 80. But that's the baby boomers. You know, that's what's going on. Baby boomers getting
True.
older.
Well, I'm hoping there's some
Well,
hope
if you
for
think
the.
about it, the whole archery's older. If you think about it, look how many senior classes we have now.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
that's true.
yeah. But I think I hope it'll change. And like I say, this always something new comes along, like known distances. That was unheard of, just a few years ago.
It was
just
really
unheard of.
Yeah, and it's exploded
It
now.
was. Yeah, if they even caught you with a rangefinder in your stool, they would run you off. And now with everybody,
Drag you out by your ear.
yeah. Well, that was big taboo. There ain't nothing about it anymore.
Right.
And they gave 3D a big boost too, believe it or not.
Yeah, it did.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of the big
big boost.
names came out and started really shooting.
Do you, and this is going to kind of be a question, and maybe I don't know this, how if it's been this way or not, but do you think that maybe some of the advanced optics that you have on a bow now has kind of even led, some of the tournaments to set targets out there further? Or have they always been? I remember last year when Jim first started shooting that senior pro class, I was like, gosh, they got javelinas and, coyotes
40
at it.
yards.
No, they'd have out like
Farther.
50,
Yeah, at the max.
52 on some of them. And I'm like, I mean, it seems like even some of the courses are set a little more challenging as the bows become more accurate and shootable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I talked to Mike Terrell about that at the last shoot we were eating together, and I asked him. He asked me. He said, "How do you think your ranges compare with an open pro range?" And I said, "Well, I always thought I was a lot harder." And he said, "No, just opposite." And I said, "Well, when I shot, we used to shoot the same range at the same time, and ours always seemed to be a bit harder." And he said, "No." Mike told me, and I believe him, no reason not to believe him. He said that he sets the ranges according to the skill level.
Mhm.
You follow me? In other words, senior pro's range won't be as hard as an open pro. A semi-pro's range won't be as hard as an open pro.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm getting at?
Right.
And maybe even the women's pro is not going to be as hard as, say, a senior pro or close to it. He didn't say that, but I just took it. And sometimes we do shoot the same range as the women pro. So we're on that, what he calls the same skill level. But he's saying that their ranges average 4 to 5 yards longer than ours. And if it does, they got a hard range. Because some of our ranges have just been hard. I remember I shot one in Texas, and some of the guys just they just having a fit because they were all over. They had so many of them over the max, and they were really getting aggravated. But and if the pros are worse than some of them ranges, I don't know. It would be. I would say it'd make it much harder. When you're shooting at a coyote at 51 yards and he's quartered. What more? How harder can you make it?
No kidding.
Wow. I shot a javelina for 49 yards and shot an 8 low. Did a good shot. Aimed right at the center and hit it low at 9 yards.
Well, there's only like a half inch of 8 underneath the 10 ring anyway.
That's right.
There's
That's
not
right.
much.
Right.
There's not much room there. It's you're lucky you weren't a nickel. It sounds like.
I know, and sometimes, but that's what they say, that they're, the ranges are set to his skill level,
Right.
and he's probably right. We just, like I told you before, we got to have something to cry about.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, and even overall, some of them seem a little stretched out further. But I mean, the bows are
Yeah.
getting better all the time. They're getting easier to
Right.
shoot, and
Yeah, but what about
Well,
our
see-
aging eyesight and
well,
all of
that's
that?
true. Well, we get Brian's lenses, and we can see perfectly.
Well, that's
Yeah,
true. I
This
need to
make you
update
shoot
mine, I
better.
think.
Yeah, we'll do that for you. Oh, yeah, I told Art, I said, with these ranges, some of them are getting softer, and I'm getting blown away. I said, they make them hard. I get back in the game a little better. What he said was this: you're making it a judging game instead of a shooting game, and that's right. I mean, judging's a big part of it for us. Because we don't shoot known, and I didn't think about that. I thought, well, maybe I just shoot. He said, no, you're just making a judging game out of it. And that made sense to me when he said that. If I can outjudge the next guy, even though he's out shooting me, I might can beat him.
Right.
And I think that's where unknown has got the advantage over known. It's hard to compete with some of these guys that can just that shoot so good, and they're just not. If they know how far it is, they're just not going to miss it. It's just that simple,
Right.
and I will miss it.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a good point to make. I mean, because it really it's pulling on both of your skill sets
Right.
for judging
Yeah.
and
Well-
shooting and
Well, see, that's what I'm telling a lot of the people that are not shooting limbs. They want to, but they don't want to see the movement, or they want a perfect picture. And I said, well, you look at it this way: they put a coyote out there at 50 yards, or a javelina at 50 yards, and you don't have a scope to blow that target up a little bit. You don't know where you're aiming.
right.
You really don't. You don't know where you're aiming. If you hit it, you just lucky,
Yeah.
because you're covering up the whole 10 ring with that 10.
Right.
But if you blow that target a little bit, you can actually get in it and see it a little better, and actually aim and be more precise where you aim.
Right.
And a lot of people have went to a lens just on that reason, so they can blow the target up a little bit.
Right.
Like I say, a big target, maybe not be an issue like a little target out there at a long distance.
Sure.
It's intimidating anyway, and. But that, I think that's the reason a lot of people never shot lens are shooting lens, especially when they move into the pro class, when they see these 50-yard targets out there.
Right.
And it does help.
Yeah, and I could see that too, because I even noticed I've played with lenses or without lenses. The thought is I won't see as much movement without it, but man, it makes it looks like your target looks tiny out there. So I don't know what
Right.
stresses me out more, seeing the movement or seeing the itty bitty target out there.
Well, what you got to do, you got to ignore the movement, because you're still moving the same amount.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just got to ignore it. Just ignore it. You're moving the same amount. Look at you. This is what I tell people that say this. I said, why are you even looking at the pen? The pen's moving, the target's not.
Yeah.
Look at the target.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, the pen's moving, the target ain't moving, so look at it. Don't worry about that pen. You look at the target. When I asked somebody the other day, I said, and I'll ask you the same question. You both of y'all, you know what causes target panic?
Yeah.
Looking at
You
the
have
my
any idea?
brain.
The target. The target is what makes you panic.
Yeah.
Look, you see what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
man, you can sit there and shut your eyes and make a perfect shot every time. Or take if every time with your eyes shut, it'd make a perfect, easy shot. But put the target in front of you and put a little pressure on you.
Yeah.
But so just ignore your movement and look at the target. The movement's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But it's so
He
hard
makes-
to do.
He makes
Yeah.
it sound so simple. Just look
Yeah,
at the target.
just look at the target. I'm going to say that the
Yeah,
next time I
some
shoot.
of some of
So-
the real high powerful coaches say look at your pen too, but for most coaches will tell you don't look at the pen. Just put your pen on the target and then start looking at the target.
Right. And I don't disagree with that one bit. I try real hard to not pay so much attention to my pen. turn my light down
Right.
pretty low,
I
and
do too.
it's
a
not easy
sunshade.
because it like especially in the certain lighting, it's the one thing that really stands out the most. But I try really hard not to look at it so
Well,
much.
I've even had archers that ask them, what do you look at, the target or the pin? And some of them don't even know. I don't know. Never thought about it.
Yeah.
I was shooting with Phil Long in Texas one year, and I actually made the shoot down, and I was shooting a blue fiber with no light, and he had a light on his, and he was complaining. The second, third time, he finally asked me. He said, "Can you see your pin? I can't see it." I said, "Yeah, I can see it." He said, "You ain't even got a light." And I said, "No, but I can see it." Well, the next target was a white. I never forget it was antelope. And I pulled back, and I couldn't see my pin, but I didn't even know it because I was looking at the target. I
Right.
didn't even know it.
Yeah.
You know, I had to let down. I told him, I said, "No, I can't see it, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to just look at the target."
There you go.
You know.
So then
And,
that raises the question: do you really need a pin?
you got to center up with something. You got to aim with something, don't you?
Right.
Well, I guess, but if you're
but
not looking at it, it doesn't matter.
Let me ask you this: do you know any 3D'ers that use a dot, or the sticky dot or the sticky circle, or?
I do know a few.
Okay.
And what they are. Matter of fact, one of my good customers, he's probably a lot more lens to me than anybody. And he shoots known 50. He went out of known 45, shoots known 50, and he shoots a dot. And his friend also shoots a dot. And well, what I found out about him, and there's a few others do it. They're far and few between, but what they were field shooters,
Right.
and they were used to that dot, and that's the reason they shoot it, because they were so used to it. You just won't see many. When you're trying to hit a 12 ring that you can't even see, and you're putting a dot on there, you're covering it up anyway.
Right.
And like I say, the 12 ring, you're shooting targets from anywhere from 20 yards to 50, and that dot is going to be a different size on every one of them. You see what I'm saying? So I don't see how they do it, but they shoot pretty good with it. The ones that do it, he says he just covers up to 12 and lets it go.
Huh.
So
yeah,
I shot a circle at a ASA. On my lens, and didn't do so hot. Mostly, I shoot a 4-power lens, which I know that I don't know your.
It's a 0.5 diopter.
Thank you,
Julie has the math down on this one.
But
I found out with a circle on 3D, it covers up too much of what you need to see. Like if it's an air hole or another air or something. Yeah.
Right. My sticker was so thick that I couldn't find where I was on the animal.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not a 3D shooter by nature.
We're trying to turn her into one, though.
She's
trying
more
to get
of
her
an indoor.
I'm an indoor
field shooter.
So I was I would put my circle and look in the circle and follow up the leg and then follow around the stomach and then wander. I was like a puzzle trying to get to where I wanted to go.
It was. We've all been through that. And then I tell you what, I had a guy call me, and he wanted to know if I could cut him a lens, and he wanted a 6-power, but he wanted me to cut a 1/4-inch hole in the middle.
A 1/4 inch?
Think about it, quarter inch. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. All right. What he said is, he says it magnifies everything but the pin, so I don't see that movement. He said, so he's looking through the hole, and his pin's right in that hole. And so his pin's not moving, even though he can still see all around it, and it magnifies it. That was his theory on it.
Wow.
He knew what he wanted. I made it for him, and he was happy with it.
Oh,
he said that's what he wanted.
That would be difficult to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. What's the most oddball request you've ever had?
Oh, I had a lot of them. That was one. He wanted drilled. And then I've had people ask me about making a dual lens scope, which.
Where there's 2 lenses in the scope housing? Oh,
right.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, I've had that request.
Could you see outer space with that, or?
Could you even do it?
I don't know.
Is it even possible?
I told him. I said, you're cluttering up your picture here. I mean, one lens is definitely going to be clearer than 2. So why would you want to put a lens and look through 2 lenses when you can do the same thing with 1? You know, I hadn't thought about that.
You have to get a pirate scope.
And I've had and I've I've had some that wanted me to etch a circle right in the center. Etch it.
Etch it.
Yeah, etch it. And I made several like that with it etched. I even made I tell you, the toughest ones I've made, and I've made a few of them, is for the Buckmaster shooters. In other words, it would be like 9 holes drilled in.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9. In other words, it'd have running pins going crossways, and then gapping pins up and down.
Oh wow!
And then a fiber in each one of them.
Ooh. Oh wow.
That's crazy.
And they had to be the right distance
Wow,
apart.
that was too much math for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, they would send me a diagram of what they wanted, and then I'd have to get my mics and all my best I could, and put everything at the right distance. And some of them said they liked it, and some of them said, "Well, that one pin was a little too far." So I don't know, and it was
that's the question. I mean, how do you adjust if you change your poundage or anything? Those pins won't be right. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, the lens
That's
won't
right.
work. I mean, so that lens would be so specific to that bow setup, arrow setup.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, and then you got the curvature of the lens, too. So, some people they want a flat lens. I prefer the concave lens, but all magnification lenses are curved. Just some not as much as others. But I like the curve because it bends the light better, and you don't get the glare that you do on a flat lens.
Is your equipment that you use the same type of equipment that would be in an optical lab, or?
Well, you may. I don't think so. Actually, no. It's different. It's got different coatings for one thing, and of course the diopters are different. And then when you get into the tinted stuff, you don't see that much. Like we do it. In other words, you can see tinted, but they won't be like the coatings that we have. You won't see it in an optical shop anywhere. But you can do that. You can go to an optical shop and request whatever you want.
Right.
They don't. I've actually had a doctor call me one time. One of my customers, I don't even know, he's from up north. He calls me, and he's telling me about his patient. and I said, now wait a minute, there's don't get too far in this. I said, because I'm not a doctor. You're talking to me like I'm a doctor. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. And then he said, okay, so he kind of simplified it down, dumbed it down for me a little bit where I can understand what he's talking about. But he wanted to know eye relief and diopters and what we were doing, so he could. So I have a lot of people ask me, can you put my prescription in my scope? And I said, yeah, I can do it. But you ain't able to see it because your prescription's up against your eye.
Yeah,
we put it out there 28, 30 inches.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Wow, that's interesting. I never thought of that, but I could see where people would
wonder
if they could.
Or that magic pill.
I guess so.
Right,
wow.
that's it.
Has any of them asked you, the lenses that change, they go to dark in the sunlight and then has anybody asked you if you can make a lens like that?
Yeah,
really?
One of these days might even do that. We've thought about it, and
really,
and yeah. See, I want to make one that did that, and I wanted it to be. You see these sunglasses that with on the outside, they mirror style.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I was talking to a guy that really knows more about lens than I do, because that's what he does for a living, and I told him what I wanted and what you just described. And then I said, man, we've got to have anti-reflective coatings, and it's got to be bright. It can't be dark.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you ain't asking for much, are you? Said, well, if we can do it, it might work. And he said, we can't do it.
Oh, wow.
And the only way I would ever be able to do anything like that is going to be to get my own equipment. And I talked to a guy the other day about that. He said, Brian, you can actually buy this stuff now to do whatever you want to do with this stuff.
Really?
And they cost you $100,000, but you can do it. Well, I'm not that deep into it yet.
Yeah.
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 But to answer your question, that would work, and but it would have to be when you get in a dark hole, it's going to have to It's going to have to get real bright.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with that. It's just going to be dark in a dark spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
they'd
I
frown
want to
upon lighten it up, with
What I
a
want,
flashlight or
what
something.
I want to do is I want to get in the hunting market with a low light hunting scope. That's what I want to do.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm working on it. It'll be the first one ever. But
That's
here
cool.
again, I can't put it on the market until it's tested,
Right.
Right.
and it
Should you
actually
be
works.
talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Have some
I'm
patent
sure
thieves
somebody
out
else has
there.
thought of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably thought of it and dismissed it. But anyway, that's what next plan. If I can get into the hunting market, our business will it will definitely be.
Oh my
be
gosh,
like
yeah.
this in the business.
It would go
Yeah.
crazy. So wouldn't the
Yeah.
amber lens kind of work good in a hunting situation, wouldn't you think? Or
Yes, and yeah, I think so. And again, it's got to be tested.
right.
And the coatings. See, when you put these amber coatings on these things, you've got to get the percentage of it right. It's a fine line between blurriness and clarity. It's a fine line between dark and light. And so, and then here again, what magnifications are going to work best and all this. There's a lot more to it than just throwing this stuff together and saying, well, this will work. It just, you're going to, if you do that and get a bad name out there, if I put this on the market and guarantee that you can shoot later with it, and the guy gets out there and he can't see a buck, he's going to blame me.
Yeah.
Now, I was. I
They're
was
serious about their hunt.
Sorry.
Mhm.
I was distracted earlier by the cats, and when you guys were talking more specifically about the amber lenses, and so forgive me if this already came up and I didn't catch it. But now the amber, is that like a polarized lens? Or have you considered trying to make something like polarized sunglasses that fishermen use? Or like, my Oakleys that I wear are polarized, and even on an overcast day, I wear them because I can see so much better through them. Is that the same thing, or is it a little different?
Yeah, I've actually made some shooting glasses, and it was just too many variables for the different shooters, but I made some and they went over real good. But we don't deal with polarized as much. As I do. I use them when I'm fishing, but out here shooting, it's going to cut down some of the stuff that you need to see. The polarization.
Right. Well, that's what I was wondering, if you could make a lens, a scope lens that was polarized, and would that even be, any good to use?
I don't. From what I have made and worked with, the polarized it wouldn't work for us.
Okay.
As archers, it wouldn't work. Like I think it's gonna mess with some stuff that you. It's going. In other words, it may do real good in the sunlight, but then when you get into the woods, it's not going to do good at all.
Okay.
Black targets probably you wouldn't be able to see them at all. My experience with it, I put it that way. I may be wrong, but that's what I see.
Well, I trust your expertise.
Yeah, so it's not a polarized. It's just a color tint, and the color is lightening up a lot of the dark, shadowy part.
Right.
Is what.
And what I've been told is whatever this is saying that we're cutting the blue light out.
Okay.
Of what we're looking through, we're cutting it out. We're filtering through it. I put it that way, and that's the reason it looks much clearer and sharper.
I see.
So that's the blue light, whatever that is.
Okay. I don't know. It's a mystery to me too. But if it works,
I know it.
That's
I know
okay.
it cuts down on diffraction, what they call light diffraction. I know it cuts it way down, and that's what makes it look sharper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
And that is
I'm
interesting.
I'm going to have one now, an amber one.
I'll get Jim's out later and have
with it.
and show you what it looks like, because it is.
I've looked through them. We always stop by their booth when we're at an ASA, but I may have to
We're
have
just
one
gonna
just
have
to
to break
stick
down
it in my
and get
scope
one
and shoot it. And
yeah,
see
you
how
almost
I
would
like
probably
it.
have to shoot a little bit in the woods and in different light, because as you're going through a 3D, maybe at ASAs it's pretty consistent throughout the course.
That's right.
But when you go to some of our local 3Ds, you might be one out in the bright sunlight in the field, and then walk 20, 30 yards into the woods, and you're, down in the dark, and you got a dark target down in the dark. And so it's really tough to know,
what we found out with the amber lens is you can shoot it with as big a peep as you want to.
Oh.
it doesn't, like a clear lens, if you get too big, it's harder to get blurred. But with the yellow lens, you can actually hold that yellow lens up there, and it won't blur.
Really?
Even it won't. Yeah,
So you have
just
more
without
clear.
a peep. You just hold it. Yeah, it's clear no matter what you do. And like I have had people say, well, it's too dark, I can't see. I said, go to a bigger peep. And then when they go to a bigger peep, they said, well, like a light switch came on when I went to a little bit bigger peep.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beauty of the amber lens to me is you don't have to shoot a small peep to clear it up, or even a clarifier. It's going to clear. It's going to be clear no matter what you do, up to a full power. That is.
Yeah, that was going to be my question: is how would shooting a clarifier affect that? Would you need a clarifier? That's
well,
what
he's
so
saying
you just
that
answered that. So.
Yeah, amber. 6 power I noticed is not as clear as a 4, but with a 4 down, I just don't have any issues at all, no matter what size the peep.
What are you using personally in your
full power? I use
4?
full power. I can shoot a 4. It's clear. I can see my pin. I can shoot, and that I use the size of the peep now because I don't have to worry about the size of the peep for as a lens. I just use a peep that keeps my pin from starbursting.
Okay.
And which is actually a little bigger than I used to shoot with a clear lens because the amber just don't blur. The full power just don't even blur.
Huh.
So you can hold it up without.
Are you able to see the rings on the targets out to?
Well, not all of them. Now I tell you what I did in Foley. I 12'd a 50-yard deer. I could see the 10 ring.
Wow.
I couldn't see the 12, but at 50 yards I saw the 10 ring. Now, a lot of times at 35, 40 yards, and maybe even a little more, I can see the 12 ring, where normally I wouldn't be able to see it.
I'm paying you a visit first thing in Texas. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I've actually couldn't see it with my naked eye and pull back and see it and have to let down to regroup about where I'm going to aim here. But now I can see the 12 ring.
Wow.
Steve Scott shoots a senior pro, and he says the same thing. He can see them better than I can. He says he see them on black targets at 40 to 45 yards all the time.
Man.
12 ring, and that's something I can't do, but he says I see it all the time with amber lens.
With the amber lens. Wow.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you
But
find
I definitely see a lot more of it than I used to.
Do you find that people prefer, like some people I think don't like to see as much clarity or don't like everything?
That's true. You know what people will do? And the pros do this. They will, whatever they're seeing in their scope, and it's not going to be clear. Like say, they don't mind a little blurriness, and they will actually, when they're looking at it with the binoculars, they'll unfocus their binoculars, so they're looking through the same thing at their scope that they are through their binoculars.
Yeah. I've heard that trick too. So you're trying to find like more of a shadowy area, and you're trying to make it mirror, or yeah, I know what you're saying.
Right.
So have you heard this before? Where, say I'm looking at a 40-yard target and it's black, say it's the Panther and it's got a little bit of light. So really you're not seeing much definition.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get your scope up on it, it's going to be a little on the blurry side. Mm-hmm. So you can't, so what they'll do is they'll look at through their binos and they'll actually make it blurry to kind of match their scope.
I do that.
So that so they'll say, okay, that little dark shadowy area there, that's where I want to be, or
Yeah, that's right. That's what they do. Yeah.
Just for the purpose of picking out their spot that they're going to aim at.
That's right, because they want to see the same thing, through their scopes. They're looking through the binoculars, so they'll blur the binoculars a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like when I do that and I stare at the target for several seconds, then when I look at it naked eye, and it's probably all just in my head, but I feel like I can actually see it better and pick out more detail on it because I've been looking at it blurry, but it's probably not really that. It's probably just exactly what you're talking about.
Well, and I think that...
Because I make it pretty blurry and I stare at it for several seconds.
Do ya?
Yeah.
The more you stare at, the blurrier everything's going to get. What you need to do then is blink your eyes real rapidly, and it'll clear it back up for you. I have to do that a lot if I'm looking through if I hold longer than I should. I'll have to blink because my pen start bursting.
Yes, I've had that.
Yeah.
Like where you start to get like a little fuzz glaze over your
Right.
vision.
Yeah. I thought that was just from
Exactly.
passing out or getting ready to pass out from holding my breath, and the shot's not breaking.
Gosh.
Yeah, I tell people, blink it away. It'll go away.
Blink it away.
It'll go away. Yeah.
That's a good point. So.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to ask him our standard questions before we wrap this up?
Yeah, we need to. I think we pretty much covered everything. And outside of that, if somebody wants to ask Brian a question, he always has a. Now, you said you're going to have a different trailer in Paris. Is that correct?
What's that now?
Did you mention that you were going to have a different trailer in Paris, or not your camper?
Yeah. We'll be working out of a trailer. We actually bought the ASA trailer. They bought a new trailer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
The old sign-up trailer. We got it, and we'll have our machine set up in there.
Sweet.
And I'm gonna steal. I don't want to lose the personal touch. That's what I was warned about, because we're under a tent where everybody can come right up to us.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to stay outside as much as I can under the awning or the tents to work with, because I got to work with them. That's just I have to do that. I mean, it's no way not to. So I'm not just going to sit behind there and just wait on customer. I'm gonna try to do the same way. Now, Faye, she'll be back in the trailer actually cutting the
lenses.
But
Okay.
You'll be able to see her. I mean, we'll have it all. Everything will be wide open, like it's always been.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome.
And do you have it painted with your logo or banners yet, or?
No, we don't have any. We got banners. We'll put them up.
We'll
We
find
may
it.
even put a tent up. It's just according to what the space allows, but we'll have banners up. They'll be able to tell who we are. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have our signs up.
All right.
Sure will.
Gotcha. Well, that's what I wanted to find out. So but yeah, it's always pretty easy to find you. I found and.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put up as much stuff as we can to be seen, because I know I have a lot of people telling me that looked for me and couldn't find me for whatever reason. And in Foley, we had a fire truck parked in front of us most of the day. They couldn't find us.
See, I didn't have any problems finding you in Foley.
No,
yes, you
yeah,
did, but
Yeah.
you were right next to Art in the McKenzie trailer.
That's right.
I was going to say.
Right. Sure was.
Well, the Bow Divas, we could volunteer to have like the sign that you wear over your body or whatever. We could walk around out front, with a bullhorn or something.
Yeah.
Just announcing to everybody, Brian's Custom Lenses right here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll be then hoping we can be seen. We just thought it'd cut down on our work a little bit. We worked pretty hard getting all our equipment out, putting it all up. And it's just, so we thought, we just set up a lab in a trailer maybe to cut down on our work a little bit.
Right,
Well,
and
good
the
for you
load
guys.
and unload and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so.
that's
That's
awesome.
right.
Good for you. That's exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I always have a question that I ask interviewees, and I'm hoping that maybe you can entertain us with a good story. But my question is, what has been the most embarrassing moment for you as an archer, or even as the boss man of Brian's Custom Lenses? So do you have an embarrassing story that you can share with us?
Yeah, I got a pretty good one. It's been a good many years ago. I was shooting and it's just started a money class, and I was in a state shoot or something, and of course I got in the money class, and there was a little old boy standing beside me. He couldn't have been over 7, 8 years old, and he was standing there watching us shoot, and I shot, and I made a god awful shot. I mean, it looked like you just wouldn't believe how bad it was. That little boy standing right beside me, he looked up at me and he said, "Are you shooting for money?" Because I was shooting at the money stake. He looked at me and said, "Are you shooting for money?" I said, "Not anymore, I'm not."
That's cute. Word from the wise.
Yeah. Anybody that shoots that bad should be shooting for money.
That's cute.
Yeah, you can always count on a little kid to be brutally honest.
I know, right?
Just as serious he could be. You
Yep.
shooting for money?
Put you in your place,
Uh-huh.
huh?
Exactly.
Brought you back down.
And my answer was just that quick, not anymore. No.
Not anymore.
That's awesome.
That's pretty great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you, Annalisa has a question.
Do you carry a hip quiver, or do you have like a stool you carry around at the ASAs?
A stool, did you say?
Yeah, do you have a stool you carry around?
The chair.
The chair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
it's called.
Oh yeah. Lord,
Um,
Lord, what will we do without our chairs and all
Right.
of our
Kidding.
junk carrying
That's
around
right.
with us?
Do you have anything in your chair that is like a good luck charm, or anything you carry around like a memento?
No, I don't. I'm not superstitious. A good friend of mine that shoots with me is Steve Scott. He's real superstitious, but I'm really not superstitious at all. He's got little rituals like a ball player he goes through. He'll eat a Reese's peanut butter cup before he goes out. So he said that gives him luck. And my wife is real superstitious. If she does something good, she'll do it over and over. But I'm really not. I don't. I try to. I carry too much junk like most of us. I try to keep it cleaned out, but yeah. I carried one chair for years. It didn't have anything in it. It was too heavy for most people. But then when I added all my stuff, nobody could carry it around but me. I guess it kept me in shape. I think. But no, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have a good. Everything I put in there, I think I'm gonna use or I'm gonna need one of these days.
Right. Sounds like my house.
I'm a more practical person than I am superstitious. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you carry lots of supplies, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I need to get something.
Yeah.
So this makes you the go-to guy though on the range.
That's
I
what I
need
was
a wrench. I
thinking.
need scissors. I need this.
Go
or
find Brian.
who has this or who has that. Or
He probably has like 15 lenses.
who
in it.
has who has some ibuprofen or a sandwich.
You'd be surprised if they would come up to me at a local shooter, even ASA, and ask me if I got a lens in my pocket or if I got one in my stool that'll fit their scope.
Dang.
And of course, and sometimes I do, believe it or not. I used to carry them a lot more before I came a vendor. I'd carry several with me because
Right.
I was always asking.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. So, well, tell us what your website is too. Is it?
Yeah. How can people contact you?
Oh, they can. Anybody can contact me. And I don't mind. I answer the phone all day, every day. And if I don't answer, I will call back and reach me at 601-917-4324. And my number is on the website, brianscustomland.com, and go to that. And or on Archery Talk. It seems to be a lot of people get my number off Archery Talk. But all you have to do is go to brianscustomland.com and Facebook. Of course, I don't even know anything about Facebook, but Faye handles all that. I don't even know what it is yet. But we are on Facebook, and she does a lot of business on it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Well, I really appreciate all the information. I know.
Yeah. Thanks
I know
for
after
taking
we
the
get
time
off here,
with us.
Yeah, this has been great. It's been pretty educational.
It's been very
educational. And a couple of us will see you in Paris, Texas in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This episode it'll go on a podcast
this
Thursday afternoon. So that's a good week before the Paris shoot. So people who are listening, who get a chance to, find Brian in Paris, Texas, if you heard him on the podcast, mention it. We'd love to see you get a little bit of business your way because of it, because we've really enjoyed, shooting your products. And it is nice. I mean, one of the things that's nice about Brian is you can go there. Oh, I don't like this 2-power. Can I try a 3? Oh, I don't like the 3-power. Like, you get the turnaround really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You can try a lot of different options in a short amount of time without, when you mail order stuff, you have to ship and pay and back and forth and wait. And so this is a really fast way to get your products and try some different things to see, because it's such a personal thing to see. You almost have to experiment and see what you like, what works for you. So
that's right. That's exactly right. That's the reason we handle it the way we do, because it is so personal. I just hate to see people spending money, even with me, that they're not going to use it. I'd rather them send it back.
Right.
And that's what I said. Well, I had people say, I'm not going to do that. And I said, I want you to send it back. If you don't use it, I want you to send it back. I don't want you not spending money with me than something you can't use.
Right.
I'd rather you just send it back and we'll get it right.
Right.
But here again, archers are so good. They just too good for their own good, in my opinion. I've never met a group of people that are so congenial and easy to get along with.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree 100%.
Yep, I do too.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your time, and you have a good evening, and good luck getting the trip. Be safe, and we'll see you in Texas in a couple of weeks. And again, really appreciate you, giving us all this information.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
I
Sure.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it myself, and I was glad to do it.
Good.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
all right, talk
And
to you
thank
soon.
y'all for giving me the opportunity.
You're
Anytime.
welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Brian. Bye
Bye.
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 Okay.
What better night to
Oh.
talk to a guy about opticals than the night when we're seeing double vision?
Yeah. Yeah, we should have asked him what the cure is for too much wine.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's a lens that takes care of that.
I was
one.
afraid everybody could hear me slurping.
Yeah. I think they could.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, I was hoping you were going to have some to take home with you, but
Oh, that's
it
okay.
doesn't look like that's going to happen.
No, we divided it pretty evenly amongst the three of us.
Mhm.
And
Oops, Siri started talking to me.
Uh-oh.
So it's Julie's birthday. We're going to get off here in a few minutes and have a Julie's birthday giveaway.
Yes, we are.
Oh, look at you.
Kapow.
Julie's birthday giveaway. I like it. But
So
yeah, well, I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really, really informative.
Brian is really great, and you know what's he's well, I mean, most of the vendors are this way, but man, he just takes so much time. Like you can sit there and whine and complain, and he probably hears a lot of whine.
Yeah.
They're
We-
archers, of course.
Right. So, but I mean, he really, truly, what I like about him is he really tries to listen. Like, okay, so I think this is our problem. Let's try this or let's try
Yeah.
that, and he
And-
does kind of give you some different.
And that's what everybody wants out of a company is a problem solver, not just
Yeah.
here. This is my
Here,
most
buy this, give me
expensive
money.
item,
Right.
and this is the best.
No, Brian's not like that.
Yeah,
at
he
all.
really goes a step beyond
he really
what a lot of
does.
other
Well, and it
providers
proves that
do.
he's never changed his prices.
No,
mean-
and it is super reasonable. I mean, it's crazy reasonable.
Well, and he's never changed his prices. He's just now getting a trailer, and he's, I mean, sounds like the perfect guy to deal with.
yeah,
Yes.
he's a great guy. When we first did business with him and bought some lenses and stuff, I was really, really impressed at how nice he is and personable, and he just blew Vince away because I think Vince called him a couple times and asked him some questions, and that's it exactly. He's like, just send it back if you don't like it. You know,
Yeah.
we'll set you up. I mean, what he said here tonight is exactly how he is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good people,
Yeah, he really is. So,
and his wife is too. She's a sweetheart.
yes.
She's a very
Yes.
nice
So
lady.
I was really glad that he got on here because I know a lot of people have questions about lenses and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what's the magic trick that's going to work best for them.
Right.
And he explained it in a way that was very understandable, unless it's really just not that complicated. But I thought it was very well put and easy to understand, and that makes a difference too, because sometimes when somebody is such an expert in what they do and they know all the technical stuff, and it's hard to get out of that.
They overlook the small, simple stuff.
Right, and the lay person out there that doesn't understand or work with it all the time, and
Right.
yeah, I feel like I definitely have a better grasp of my scope and my lens now, and I'm thinking, well,
I think
I
that
might have
amber
to
lens
try
is gonna
something
be
different.
fun.
I want to try the amber
I
lens.
do too.
I do
Yeah.
want to
Sounds
try
like
the
a good
amber
time.
lens.
Yeah.
Because I've just noticed, I think and as you get older, light, when there's a lack of light, it makes it,
It's
it
worse.
just becomes much more difficult to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had a lot of problems this year at 3D seeing, there's been a few times
Mm-hmm.
where it's been a little dark in spots, but
Like Carrollton this weekend, there were some targets, and
It
it was
was-
overcast.
it was overcast.
And it was one of those situations where I'm like, all right, I know this is the vital area, and I'm just going to
yeah, I did
keep
that a lot
holding in
too.
the center of it and pick up a 10 because there was no way I could see any rings or detail. But then there was
See-
other shots I could see the rings, like some of the upper 12s especially through my scope. And,
Could you?
And I called,
Yeah.
I don't know, for 2 or 3, 4 upper 12s because I could actually see that ring, and I was stunned. that I could actually see it.
See, I can't ever see rings through I don't have a clear enough sight picture. I don't use a clarifier either, though.
Yeah,
'Cause
I started using one last year.
Did
and
ya?
It's made worlds of difference.
Have you not tried one?
I tried one, and it made my pen look really bizarre. It made my pen, it changes the way your pen is. So I just opted for the blurry picture
Yeah.
to see my pen clearer.
Did you try the different types of clarifier? Like I think
No,
I should
I probably should play with it a little bit and see.
And he would be a good. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a
Oh,
good
yeah.
time to do that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm warning Vince. I already sent him a text. I'm like, I'm getting an amber lens.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, honey, can I have this? I just said, I'm getting one.
Purchase it. Yeah, we're buying some stuff down there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
be aware. But yeah, that was really cool, great information, and so I hope somebody picked up something and he gets a little business
Yeah.
from. No, he'll get business anyway.
Yeah,
so
he will,
didn't
but-
need us to boost his.
Yeah.
I like how his wife really pushed him into starting the company. I like that.
Oh, I'm sitting here, my brain's turning. I'm like, because those entry fees for pros are pretty expensive. She's probably like,
Yeah.
she's probably like, we gotta make archery make us a nickel instead of giving all our nickels to it.
Right. So there you go. You and Jim need to come up with
I don't know
something.
what's our gig gonna be.
Well, Keith makes strings, and that was supplementing some of our travel, but he just doesn't have time now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we go to too much, so it puts him in a bind because he was doing like 3 or 4 a week.
Was he
there
really?
for
Wow,
a while, and it
good.
was. I mean, he was getting that many in. He wasn't getting them all done because that's not enough time to stretch and do everything you need to do. So I wonder how much of his shooting he's had to kind of put on the back burner, or he has a partner. I mean,
Right.
his wife is his partner. She can do what he
She
can do.
and she is there, like when he's like because he
When he's
shoots a
shooting.
class, so he does go out and shoot, and he'll hit the ranges too. So she is there. She'll answer your questions or do whatever.
and that's perfect.
Yeah. Or she'll flat out say, I can't answer that. You're going to have to wait till Brian gets back and talk to him.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could quit shooting so that I could sit and talk to people about string making.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm that dedicated to string making. So I think we'll just pay our entry fees.
Yeah. The old fashioned way.
The old-fashioned
Right.
way. It seems like a whole lot less stress.
Yes.
I'll go to
Yes,
my
so.
job during the week and then, yeah.
There you go.
So.
Yep.
Anyway,
All right.
we
well, this
better
has been
hop
a long
off here
one.
so we can do our
Julie's birthday giveaway.
Yep.
Julie's
Woo woo.
Julie's tiara pajama party. I don't know.
And magic wand.
We don't have pajamas,
Are
but
we going to have a pillow fight?
Julie, the fairy godmother, I'm going to grant your archery wishes.
so did we have a live kitten fight?
The
While I
fight.
No, I just videoed them. I'll post it
Okay,
later.
okay.
It wasn't live, though.
Okay, I thought it was, and then I was like,
By the way,
I was like, dang, we're using my phone to make this call. I can't watch it. Darn.
You need to give a segue. That's what I was going to tell you. You need to give a segue into the podcast. There was a cat fight on the podcast, and then add that.
That's
a
great.
good one.
Make them like watch it or listen to it so that they can see the.
That's awesome.
I won't explain too much of what was going on there because you're going to see the video of it. But it was pretty hilarious. These two, I thought these two were going to have to take bathroom breaks. They were laughing so hard.
Your cat
And-
reached around with its mouth, pulled the target off like a donut in its mouth, and was like shaking and ripped it out of its mouth. I mean,
Great.
how can you hold it in? It's just like.
And you can't ignore it because I kept staring over
Well,
there,
and
what's it going to do?
It was also bright orange, that fluorescent
black
orange on
hair.
the black hair. So I looked over there. I saw that stuck to him. And I was like, what the
Great.
heck?
And that was on the live video. So.
Yeah, the
That
last
part
thing you got
was.
was the donut eating.
Yes.
And then it's sitting over there, sticker side up, and 3 cats have walked through that door, and I'm like, get it on your foot, get it on your foot, roll over on it. Nope, still sitting there. It's like a mouse trap.
Exactly.
Oh,
But that
gosh.
was fun.
All right.
It's been a crazy night. It's been
All
a lot
right.
of fun. And Brian was a lot of fun to talk
Yeah.
to.
Yes,
He's
he
a
was.
good sport.
He was. So,
All right.
All
You ready
right.
to head out?
yep.
Make like a baby.
Hey, we
Head out.
hit a mile marker. We're
Oh, yeah.
way over
Oh,
500.
yes, we are.
I think we could hit
We're
600
on our way to 600.
almost.
We need to give something away for hitting 500.
Yes, we do.
Oh, do you want to?
So maybe we'll do that
Right.
I don't know, random drawing or do it on our live
Let's do it on our live.
giveaway?
I think.
Or-
Well, I think we should do a random because then that gives
Oh.
us
So people
more
went in to like
people.
it and everything. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because not everybody's gonna catch our thing tonight because it is getting kind of late. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we better hurry
Yeah,
up so we can
that's
do
a
this.
subtle hint to wrap this up so that
All right.
Well,
so
we
can
could
get home.
post a picture of what it is, and then have everybody go in that wants to be entered into getting the
Just
opportunity.
to like
Just
it.
comment on
Like it, maybe
the
share it.
picture or comment
Or is
on the
that too
picture.
much?
I'd say let's just
Hit likes.
whoever like it, and then we can.
We'll go in a drawing
Yeah.
Okay.
to get it.
And we
Okay.
could go in and do like a roulette, swipe the names.
We'll let
because you can go
Otto-
in and see the list of names.
We'll
and
let Otto put his paw on it. And
Okay, sounds good.
Whoever
that
he
works.
picks.
Okay.
All right.
Otto's going to pick the winner.
All
Say
right.
bye, Barb.
Bye, Barb.
Say bye, Julie.
Bye, Julie.
Bye, Aunt Alicia.
Bye, Aunt Alicia.
All right.
Check us out.
Bye,
Bo Divas
Felicia.
Podcast, Facebook page.
Yeah.
Any
yeah,
questions?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's going on.
Just look us up on
Mostly
Facebook.
the
Yeah.
Bo Divas podcast and download. Tell your friends.
Yep.
Like
Download
us.
some more.
Yes, thank you very much. It is doing quite well. I check the stats regularly. And
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting lots of downloads,
Cool.
which is exciting because
That's cool.
we're getting the word out to more people.
We're
and
big
hopefully more
timing.
people are getting something out of it.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
See
All right.
ya.
Bye, everybody.